will jump on. Thank you so much for joining us for our team call today. We just got done with a really awesome coaching session. I might have like some sweat because I was getting fired up there. So fun. I love this work and I love every single one of you. So thank you for joining us for our team call today. I can hardly wait to jump into our book club. How many of you are loving this book? P.S. Oh my gosh, it's such a good one. I love it. But first, we're going to do some shout outs. So anyone on this call, if you have noticed someone in your downline, your sideline, your upline, anyone who you think is showing up exceptionally well or is putting in a lot of consistent effort, we want to hear your shout outs. Who's going to go first? Get it, Sammy.
Cammie Olson is gold, and that's super exciting. I'm super excited for her. I was looking for her face on the thing. I'm just so excited for her. I think that sometimes, I know this was the same case for me, it looked like, 20 people, that sounds like so many. Oh, that sounds like far away. But then it's like, all of a sudden, it's like you start sharing, you post here and there, and it's like, holy cow, that wasn't that crazy. So I'm excited to hear her new goals because I know gold was a goal. Well, we're here, friend. So let's set some new goals.
Yay, Cammie. Woo! Love you, babe. I'm so proud of you. I still remember sitting in her front room and she was kind of like, I'm not sure about all this. And I was like, Cammie, if you could only know, like, this is exactly how so many of us are, right? We're skeptical and we're like, ooh. And then all of a sudden, and now she's changing all the lives. Way to go, Cammie. I love it. Who else has shout outs?
Christy, can I hear you shout out somebody?
Yes, please do.
I want to shout out Melissa Pierce. She's on this call. I just, over the last week or so, she has changed my mindset big time. She is showing up with scarcity and just kind of sitting on the sidelines of gold right now. And she's reaching out to people and following up with people like I've never seen before. So shout out to you, Melissa.
Yay, Melissa. You're going for gold this month, is that right? Oh my gosh, Melissa, I'm so excited for you. You can totally do this. Guys, this is the exciting part. Like in the book, it talks about fear and excitement. The only difference is breathing, right? If you're feeling a little fear, that's natural. It's okay. Breathe and it will turn into excitement. This is so fun. I love it. Who else has shout outs? Nicole, you're so cute. Are you getting all choked up?
Heather has a shout out.
Heather, go for it.
So I want to shout out Heidi. She is awesome. She's just like dug right in. She's jumped in the book. She just does the system. She is using the tools that we have, and she is having tons of conversations, and she's got a goal for her Fast Start Silver, and I know she's going to hit it. She's just killing it. It's so fun to be working with her.
Heidi, welcome. You are new to our team and we're so happy to have you. Be in our thread because we are going to just pump each other up to like finish this month so strong. You are absolutely going to hit your goal. We're going to help you. Love it. Heidi is posting on Facebook. Yes, I love it. And she's getting results. Love that. Who else?
I'll shout out Nicole and Jess.
Oh,
I've been reaching for gold and they've been an awesome support when I've had some down days or just feeling like I can't do it. They've been an extra support and just pushing me through and helping me get there. So I want to shout them out for being great leaders and support.
Oh, I love that. Nicole and Jess are kind of the dynamic duo. So awesome. What amazing leaders. Okay, who's next? Anybody else have shout?
I just have to say I am so dang proud of my team. Like there's not even like one person specifically, like it's just everyone together, the unity, the just community, the love, the support. I feel like my team has really just come together and stepped outside of the scarcity individually and just worked on like knitting our hearts together. And it's such a beautiful thing. And I'm so grateful to do this with everyone here, but also just with my girls. Melissa and Jess are here, and I just love all of you. So thank you for showing up with me, you guys.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And I want to just say really quick, we know Nicole did a beautiful live in Synergy Plexus Builders within the last maybe like a couple weeks. She had a huge hashtag leadership level up, means a mindset shift. And she's putting it into action. It's no accident that your team is like responding, right? So what we do and what we, the mindset things that we break through always materialize and people feel it. So props to you, Nicole, for creating that and wrestling with that and then creating a leadership level up. That's amazing. Who else has shout outs? Let's see here. Well, I have a shout out because she's on the call. Lori, I gave you a shout out last week, but you weren't on the call because I hadn't invited you. Surprise, you're always invited. I realized, wow, it's time for you to be part of our family. Guys, Lori Ward is someone that I love dearly. I met her about a year and a half ago, instantly connected with her, had no intentions of trying to like make her be on my team. I just loved her and I still just adore her. But she has seen the vision with Plexus. She's totally in alignment with gut health and loving people well. Lori is someone that you want to follow on social media, especially Instagram, LW Skincare. She does it so beautifully and in a way that's so genuine. She offers so much value to her community, like regardless of what she gets from it. She's such a good example to me of that. And so she is seeing the vision with Plexus and is absolutely changing so many people's lives and creating this beautiful community within her community of Plexus people. And it's so awesome to watch. And I'm just honored to be a part of it. So Lori, huge shout out for learning some new things that are kind of different. This business model is different, you guys. For someone who has like a successful business, it's definitely different, right? And she's just been a champ at just like, okay, I'm going all in. Like, I'm uncomfortable, but we'll do this. So Lori, huge shout out. We're so happy to have you. We love you already, and you're always welcome at our table. Welcome to our family. We love you. Who else? Does anyone else have shout outs? Cami does. Get it.
I've never gone, can you hear me? I've never unmuted myself on this. I don't even know if Charlie's on here, but Charlie Bundy, she might have gone off. But anyways, Charlie is killing it. She has gone super silver. There you are, beautiful girl. She's gone super silver this month. She's enrolled like, what is it, 4 or 5 people this month? How many have you done? 5. Within like a couple of weeks. I am so proud of her. She's like finally got the bug and catching on to the vision, and I'm super stoked for her. So way to go, Char.
I love it. Sammy, she's getting her 6th today. That's so Sammy. She knows every single person's enrollment and what's happening. I love it. You're so awesome.
One person away from the 250. So she's getting it today. And I already know she is because it's her sister.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love it. You guys, you know what's cool? I just have to say really quick is that Charlie's been consistent. She's been consistent when she wasn't seeing the results. Like, I want to shout her out for that and just like teach us all. It's really easy to be consistent when there's momentum and we see the results all the time, but she's been consistent even when it wasn't necessarily coming right away. And so remember, your harvest can't be denied. You are consistent, you will reap a harvest. So I love seeing you reap that harvest. You guys are amazing. Does anyone else have shout outs? This is kind of my favorite part of the whole call. Get it, Kate.
I do. I wanted to shout out Sammy. She has been such a, yes, you. That's why. It's just your cuteness and your meekness and your humbleness. Because I've been watching you kind of just break through what you're doing. And last week I was thinking, I'm like, what, we all have these doubts, right? But I realized I want to be a leader, and we have all these great leaders to look at. But there was just something, I can't remember, I think I was watching her 3-day video and I'm like, Sammy is such a leader and she's new at this. I'm like, I want to be a leader like Sammy. And she made a comment on my new level 1 enrollee last week. And I was like, that's so cool. Like doesn't benefit her at all, but you know, it was just really sweet. And I'm like, I want to do that. I want to lift everybody else up. So it was just cool. Thank you, Sammy.
Oh, I love that. You know what's so cool is like we are such a beautiful team, and so many of you you're not necessarily in each other's lineage, right? That doesn't matter. Like we are here together truly to lift each other and teach each other and pick each other up and reassure each other. Like what a beautiful symbiotic relationship this is for all of us. Ooh, I keep getting chills, and I had smooth legs at the beginning of this. This is not fair. Anyone else have anything to say or any thoughts, shout outs? Thank you so much. That was beautiful. I just love it. This team is truly leveling up, and it's so, so exciting. So really quick, before we get into our discussion with book club, we have our What is Plexus, just a simple, old school. It's just what works, right? It's a Zoom call where we talk about Plexus tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. We're going to do a quick rundown on how the products work. We're going to share some testimonials. And it's a really good way for us to gather everybody who's on the fence and just say, hey, I know you're not sure yet. Here's one last opportunity for April for you to listen to the products, hear how they work, hear some stories, and then take advantage of this pricing that's ending Thursday. Because you guys know $10 membership is insane, and 10% off welcome packs is insane. That is set to end on Thursday. So we want to really give everybody in our networks an opportunity to take advantage of that. I really want to reframe the way you think about this. We just got done talking about goals and setting goals as a leader. And yes, that is super important. But when you kind of zoom in on it, you realize there are so many people that want to take advantage of this pricing. It's really, guys, this is one of the biggest deals I've ever seen in 4 years. So we really want to make sure that, yes, 8 o'clock Mountain Time tomorrow night. We want to make sure that everybody that we've been talking to has the opportunity to learn about the pricing. Maybe it's not their time. And again, we don't white knuckle a soul. That's not what we do in here. We offer and say, hey, just in case the timing works for you, I wanted you to know about these specials that end on Thursday. Is this a good time to take advantage of that? That's it. Like I have 2 people that I quickly messaged that exact message, and they're like, oh yeah, I've been thinking about it. I totally want to. Like sometimes we just need to remove the drama and the meaning and like I don't want to be pushy. You're just offering people a great deal on amazing products. That's it. And you have no attachment to what they say and how they respond. If their timing is right or not, right? That doesn't have anything to do with us. It's their timing. We're just offering that. So that tomorrow would be a great opportunity to kind of do a once over. Let's work on that today and tomorrow so that we can get everybody in on that deal that wants to take advantage. Do you guys have any questions about the deal? Do you have any questions about pricing or anything that's the stimulus that's happening right now? Does anybody have questions? You guys are all clear on how that's working? You get 3 enrollments, level 1s, with any welcome pack. You get an extra $100 on top of the normal bonuses. You get 6 total level 1s. With any welcome pack in the month of April, you get an additional $250. So by getting 6 level 1s in April with any welcome pack, you get $350 of extra bonuses. That's on top of the regular business building bonuses and our pay points. So many people need money right now. Are you guys noticing that? How many of you are hearing people like struggling? I'm not working right now. Like, this is a great opportunity to let them know they can get that money and it's paid out within 72 hours. Plexus is putting their money where their mouth is and really doing everything they can to help us and help other people at this time. Okay, so let's set a goal to finish April. Maybe it's a bigger goal, a team rank up goal. Maybe it's a point growth goal. Maybe it's just a personal enrollment goal. Maybe it's a silver goal. Set a goal and then let's break it down and really start to work toward that in the next 4 days. Okay, let me look at the chat. Oh, you guys are so cute. I'm just making sure I didn't miss any questions or anything. Kimberly, do you want to add anything to that? Bless you. Bless you.
Nope, I'm good. I'm just enjoying listening.
Okay. Sometimes it is really fun to like be a kid. You're like, I'm just here being a kid. It'll be my turn next week, so that'll be fun. Okay. All right, let's dig into this book. Are you guys loving this book? And let's be honest, that chapter 1 was long. How many of you noticed it was kind of long? So we have a few a few bullet points that I want to make sure that we go over, but mostly I want to hear from you around these topics. Because I really tried to look through and say, okay, what's like one question that we can ask? And then I want to hear your feedback and hear some breakthroughs and hear things that you're learning as you're reading this book. But first things first, let's get started. The big leap. This is all about, I mean, look at that fish. This is all about, here we are in our world thinking, yeah, this is great. And one day we realize, oh my gosh, what if it can be different, right? That's what this is all about, is expanding your mind and taking that big leap to really expand your tolerance for good things going well. How many of you read that and you were like, what? Like, we literally have a tolerance level of how well things can go in our lives. That's what this is all about. Melissa, what were you going to say?
I didn't mean to raise my hand, but
oh, darn it.
I love the book, and I'm learning a lot from the book. It sounds a lot like me, and I think it will help me have some good breakthrough. So
yes,
I can say that.
You know what's so cool too? I read this for the first time 2 years ago when I was really working on breaking through my mindset. And there's no end to this stuff because we're always working on the next level and raising our consciousness and really kind of breaking through that leadership lid. We're always working on that. So this is something that serves us all the time. So one thing he says that I wanted to just point out is if you don't clear the upper limit problem out of your way, it will be a drag on you until the day you die. Who wants to kind of summarize what is the upper limit problem? What did you learn through reading? Like what does that even mean? Anybody want to take a stab and share what they think it is?
Is it kind of like your leadership lid? Kind of like, not necessarily leadership, but I feel like in life, just in general, we all have leadership in some way or another, whether it's with a business or whether it's just in the way we parent or whatever. But I think we get really stuck in this, like, I'm only capable of this. You know what I mean? And then we never really ever grow past that because it's all we can ever envision for our life. And so we just get stuck in this cycle of like, every time we hit that like top notch, we're like, ugh, and then we come back down. And then, you know, it's just like this constant cycle. And I've seen it like in the women in my family and in people that I love dearly. And it's just like this, almost like an abuse cycle in some ways. Like we all have abuse in our life. But I really think that at some point you have to break through that level or you just never fully ever dream or hit your potential or grow.
Yes, I love that, Nicole. Sarah, what were you going to say?
I was just looking back up here. What really touched me was it was in the introduction when he brings in the zone of genius. What my question to you, or the answer to yours, was eliminating the limitations. And then what I was just going to say is they were free to go beyond ordinary success to a new and extraordinary level of abundance, love, and creativity. And what's rung true to me this time was the creativity, because when we're not compounded by life and all of the responsibilities of being an adult, that's where the creativity comes. And I think that when you're able to be creative, you're thinking from your heart, you're thinking from your source of true fuel and fire. And so by removing the limitation to be so free to create, because I know that's something that I found in my life, that I have to create, and if not, I do get weighed down. And then I figured it out. And so in a whole, that limitation of going, you mean I can get more creative? I can have more, all of the things, because being a person that I claim I am to my eyes. So any sort of shift of vibration, it leaks out. Any sort of wave of energy, I feel it, and it comes out my face. And so to think that I could have more than that, I'm only this tall, but I know that I can swim, and I can swim deep, and I can learn to take the breaths when I come. So to just really, it's like a free fall of anything my heart has ever wanted, because I can look up and see that nothing is impossible.
Absolutely. I love that, Sarah. And it's funny, that part that you just said is like stars and like all outlined because I love it. Yes, it's so awesome to be successful. And that is part of the abundance, right? But it's not everything. Having higher levels of success, love, gratitude, and creativity together is what we're after. That's my commitment as a leader too. I never want you to grow successful more than you're growing in your relationships with your spouse, with your family, your peace level. Like I am committed to model having all of that, right? And that's possible when we raise our upper limit. Something he says here, he says, he's talking about Michael, who's a CEO of Dell Computers. And I love this because this is everything. He says, Michael embraces every opportunity to grow. He embraces. So often when we have reached our upper limit, we don't really necessarily embrace that. It's kind of a feeling of, oh, right? Frustration, and you're maybe wrestling, but he embraced that opportunity to grow. That is so important, and it's everything when we're talking about that upper limit. He said, that's the kind of openness to learning I'd like you to bring to our explorations together in this book. So right now, I want you to write in your notes, am I open to more love, success, creativity? Am I open to it? That is the hinge upon which all of the things that we're going to learn in this book are going to rest. Because if you're truly say, yeah, of course, but in your heart, you're like, oh, I wouldn't know what to do if I had that much success. I just got to be down here and be comfortable, right? So ask yourself, am I open to greater love, money, creativity, success? Am I open to it? And let that kind of marinate. If you are, and you're willing to go all in with the things that we're learning in this book, you can break through your upper limit. And it's kind of like breaking through candida die-off, right? I always tell people, when you get on the other side of the yeast, you break through that, you're going to feel so good. It's going to be so worth it. It's the same thing. When you see yourself kind of limiting yourself and that upper limit comes in, but you're committed to break through it, you're going to have so much more success, love, creativity, gratitude, success, all of it on the other side of that decision to be open to it and break through it. Okay, so he says there's so much, so we're going to try to skim over and just hit the good stuff. I love this. I want you to listen and see if you hear yourself in this or if you've ever been in a position like this. He said, I imagine that you sense a huge unrealized potential in yourself, an extraordinary level of success you know you can achieve. I also imagine that you worry about falling short of achieving the ultimate success you can see, taste, and smell. If you feel that way, you're on the threshold of perhaps the greatest opportunity of your life. How many of you can feel that? You can feel like, oh, I know there's a lot of potential. Like, I know I haven't reached that max level of success and creativity and love and abundance. I know there's more. Really quick, I want to share. There was a week when I was thinking about going for Diamond last May. There was about a week when I was wrestling with it and I was like paying the price to figure out if it was the right move and like all the things I was right up against my upper limit. I remember one morning I woke up with my heart just pounding. And to me, that's when God wants to talk to me, when it's like early in the morning or in the middle of the night. Because let's be honest, like sometimes that's the only time he can get my attention. Because there's kids and there's business and it's fun and I'm kind of a squirrel girl, right? But in the middle of the night, my heart was just pounding and I reached over and picked up this book. And not this book, but a book that talked about taking the leap of your life. And it explained exactly what I was feeling, similar to that. I knew it was time for me to go all in, take a big risk. And it was time for me to step into the exceptional version of myself. Kind of like Sammy said, when you really visualize that version of you, it's hard to unsee it. And you kind of are like, oh, I know that's there and it's time to go for it. No more standing on the diving board, just like, maybe I will, maybe I won't. and your stomach's in knots. Like sometimes you just gotta go for it, right? And that's what this book is all about. Does anybody have any thoughts about that? Or are you feeling that when you feel like there's this unrealized potential that you're ready to tap into? Okay, we'll move along. So here, what he talks about is when things are going well, we have this tendency and the upper limit switch will be flipped. We're having success. Things are going well. Maybe your relationships are going well. You're having connection with your spouse. You're feeling good, right? Things are going well. Have you guys ever noticed, and he talks about how all of a sudden you'll put yourself into a worry place and you literally create self-sabotage, like these slides of worry and like, oh my gosh, what about this? What about that? What about that? And you quickly bring yourself, it's like I picture Mary Poppins when they're like, I love to laugh, oh, ho, 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 and they're all on the ceiling having a great time, and then somebody has to say something, oh, that's a sad thought, and everybody comes off the ceiling, right? I always hated that part because I love being on the ceiling laughing, but that's kind of what we do. Do you guys ever do that where you feel like things are going well? And then you've kind of flipped your upper limit switch, like, oh, this is too much happiness, joy, success for me to handle. I got to bring things back down because I'm not comfortable with that degree of success, love, connection, abundance. Have you guys ever experienced that? Where you literally find a way to create chaos so that you come back into a place where you're comfortable with your happiness level or success level. Has anyone ever experienced that?
That's like my life, which sounds really bad, but like really that's what I meant by like you hit that lid and it's like you bring yourself back down and it's a cycle. And I think that we all do it in some way or another. And I think that we train our kids to do it. And like a huge shift for me in wanting to be a leader has been that my kids are going to watch that, and that I heard this in a podcast the other day, that your kids will only ever achieve what they see you achieve. Like, and not necessarily like the exact same goals, but the level. They'll only go to that level. Like they see when you hold yourself back. They see when you self-sabotage. They see when you go high and then you come right back down, and they see it and they watch that cycle. And I feel like that's like been a really big shift in my heart, is that as a mother, that's my greatest leadership role, and that I want to show them that I can break boundaries and cycles that I've been trained my whole life to do, and that they can do that too with the things that they want in their life.
Oh my gosh, Nicole, I love that, because they're always watching, whether they tell us they are or not, right? Okay, we're going to ask 4 questions. I want you to write these down. And even if you read it, I really want you to write it so that you can process this, because these 4 questions are totally foundational for the amount of impact that you create with this book study. Because we can sit here and talk all day about these concepts, but if you are all in and you decide with these 4 questions to go all in, then you can create shifts, okay? Number 1, am I willing to increase the amount of time every day that I feel good inside? Write it down. Am I willing to increase the amount of time every day that I feel good inside? That sounds pretty silly. Like, who would say no? But yet we do. Oh, it's funny. So are you willing to increase the amount of time every day that I feel good inside? Okay, that's the first one. Number 2, the same thing. Am I willing to increase the amount of time that my whole life goes well? Are we ready to allow it? Are we willing to allow things to go well in every area? I know I have done this in my marriage, where if things are going well in one area, the way I self-sabotage is I come over and like create problems over here, right? Because my upper limit flip was switched like a thermostat. Whoa, that's way too much happiness. You got to bring it down. So go create chaos in some other area of your life so you can bring it back down to a comfort level of happiness. Number 3, am I willing to feel good and have my life go well all the time? Interesting. Are you willing to feel good and have your life go well all the time? One thing I want to share really quick before we move to the fourth question is he said, in my life, I've discovered that if I cling to the notion that something's not possible, I'm arguing in favor of the limitation. And if I argue for my limitations, I get to keep them. Ultimately, we have to ask ourselves, what's the payoff for arguing forcefully for our limitations? Guys, this is crazy, but it shows up. Like when we say, oh, I don't have time tomorrow to work my business because gosh, I have all these things going on and I just can't do it. Okay. If you can't, then you can't, and that's what you get, right? But if you say, what if I could create a solution here? If I thought outside the box, what might that look like? Well, then what are you going to get? Solutions, creative solutions. But so often we think black and white and we argue for our limitations. Oh, I was just raised this way, so that's just the way I am, right? I can't change that because that's just how I was raised. Okay, then that's what you get, right? But if you're willing to be open, then you can create possibilities. Does anybody have thoughts around that? If not, cool. Okay, so he said having willingness to feel good and have life go well all the time is genuinely a radical act. So we are definitely swimming upstream with this idea of allowing more happiness. Most people think that it's not possible for things to go well and for you to feel happy most of the time. They just think it's not possible. So for you to think that it is a radical act. Isn't that cool? You're like, yep, I am separating myself from the pack, and this is not normal. Number 4, the last question that we're going to talk about today. Are you willing to take the big leap to your ultimate level of success in love, money, and creative contribution? Are you willing to take the big leap to your ultimate level of success in love, money, and creative contribution? So this is basically going all in and saying, I know I was divinely created and that there's a purpose for all of this. Am I willing to just surrender to that and go all in? Okay, this is so good. And we're going to just touch on a couple more things. Okay, I love it. So he talks about sometimes when things go wrong, it can be really easy to get stuck in either beating yourself up and saying, oh, if only I would have done this or that, then I would be in the situation that is ideal, right? But he said the people that really get this, they ask hard questions like, gosh, what could I learn from this, right? How could I shift things moving forward so that you can actually step into this? Okay, I love what he says here. So he's going to talk about the different zones and we'll touch on it. But he said in the zone of genius, which is where you are in alignment with the things that light you up, the things that move the needle, and the things that basically are like your creative juices are flowing. When you're there, your ego is unnecessary because living there is its own reward. How cool is that? That when you're in this zone of genius, you really don't need big accolades. You don't need to be right. You don't need to prove a point, because just being in the zone of genius has its own reward. It feels so good that you don't need the other things to supplement that. In the zone of genius, you cease to care about recognition or ostracism. Once you make a commitment to inhabiting your full potential, your ego is suddenly faced with extinction. Okay, I'm going to read this. I put a thing here because this is so good. I don't want to paraphrase. I just want to read this. He says, faced with annihilation, your ego, this is really important. Okay, those 4 questions are important. And then this is really important to have awareness at the beginning of this book so that you are prepared for what's about to happen. Okay, faced with annihilation, your ego will set off a smoke bomb of fear. It will attempt to sabotage you by telling you tales of the terrors you'll experience if you take the big leap into your zone of genius. Using the smoke screen of fear as your own inner IMAX. Do you guys know what that looks like? Your own inner IMAX of all the fearful thoughts of what could happen, right? Your ego is going to set that off, and it will project pictures of financial ruin and other disasters sure to befall you. All this is understandable because fear is always about the unknown. This is unknown territory. Your ego has never been in this fix before. Ultimately, fear will be banished because fear disappears when you're fully engaged in the zone of genius. Isn't that cool? Until you get there, though, you'll find yourself befogged more than once. Fortunately, this territory has been mapped out. There's something to help you find a way through, although it's probably unlike any navigational tool you've ever used in the past. Okay, so he's saying, don't be surprised when you say, I'm going all in. I'm going to raise my level of allowance of happiness, love, joy, success. I'm going to do it. Don't be surprised when your ego starts tripping, right? And going, oh my gosh, are you sure? Like this could happen, that could happen. Did you guys know, this is just a little tip. Your brain literally cannot tell the difference between a threat to your physical safety and a threat to your identity. Did you know that? So this is what he's saying. When you recognize that upper limit and you start to say, oh my gosh, I'm going to break through that. Your ego thinks you might die because it's a threat to your identity. So what you do then is you say, thanks for sharing. You're so sweet. Thank you for keeping me safe, right? I love you, brain. I love you, ego. But we're safe. Like, I don't see a car in oncoming traffic. I'm going to live through this. My identity is evolving. I know who I am. I know I'm worthy. We got this, right? So don't be surprised, though, when your ego kind of comes, woo, fear, fear, fear. Do you guys have any thoughts or anything to add to that before we move on? Okay, we'll keep moving. So I love this. We talked about this a little bit. And I'm not going to read this whole thing, even though it's so good. How many of you recognize the feeling of fear, and you also recognize the feeling of excitement? Like, they're both feelings, but he explains that fear is excitement without the breath. So right now, everyone, just take some deep breaths. We're going to practice. When that fear comes, you're going to keep breathing. And you're going to intentionally, this is the tool that you're going to utilize, that he tells us, as your smoke screen of fear comes up, and the IMAX inside your heart and your mind is showing you fear, possibilities, threat to identity. You're going to go, I'm going to keep breathing. Because when you add breath to fear, you create excitement. Did you know that? That's what he says in the book. We're going to test that. Okay, so that's going to be the tool that when these fears come up, you add breath, and then it's exhilaration. It turns into excitement when you keep breathing. Okay, he says the goal in life is not to attain some imaginary ideal, it's to find and fully use our own gifts. So write that. What are my gifts? Every one of us on this call is going to have a different set of unique gifts. But fully, like, using and identifying our own gifts is the goal, right? And that's what it means to be in the zone of genius. Okay, he talks about when we trip that upper limit switch, what happens is the old belief clashes with the positive feelings you're enjoying, and one of them has to win, okay? So let's just kind of put this into like an object lesson. So when your thermostat in your house goes off, whoop, it says, oh, it's time to either cool or warm this up, right? So when your upper limit thermostat goes off, it's an old belief saying, whoa, Kate, this is way too much happiness, way too much success. You have way too much momentum. We've got to find a way to bring this back down, right? Your old belief is triggering that, but you have a choice. The reason why it's being tripped is because you have a positive belief there too. The awareness that, oh my gosh, my upper limit switch is being flipped. So you have a choice then to go, okay, what's going to win? My old belief, which is there's only so much happiness and joy and success that I can experience, or the new one is I'm allowing happiness and joy for more time. I'm allowing myself to have better results. more joy, more success for longer. One of those beliefs has to win, right? So are you guys seeing a pattern? When you feel the fear, you breathe, then you make a conscious decision. Which thought am I going to allow to win right now? Is it going to be my old belief that brings my thermostat back down to a familiar zone? It's not even comfortable. That's what Preston says. He's like, I want to rename the comfort zone the familiar zone, because the comfort zone isn't comfortable. There's pain there, right? Because we're not growing, but it's familiar. So when that upper limit switch goes off, you have a choice. Am I going to let that old belief win, or am I going to step into, I'm allowing more happiness and more success and more abundance? That is the key. Any thoughts? You guys have been super quiet. We have 1 minute to finish this up. Does anyone have any thoughts? I've been talking so much. Is this good stuff? Are you guys learning a lot?
I have something.
Okay.
So it reminds me of the poem that my dad taught me about the tale of two wolves. And I've just found it really quick. Can I read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
So it says, one evening, an old Cherokee told his grandson about a battle that goes on inside people. He said, my son, the battle is between two wolves inside us all. One is evil. It is anger, envy, jealousy, doubt, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other is good. It is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, forgiveness, truth, compassion, and faith. The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, which wolf wins? The old Cherokee simply replied, the one that you feed.
I love that, Sarah. It's exactly what we're talking about.
My heart was racing during reading that, because it was like you said, when there's truth, I don't mean to step on you, but like,
no,
when I know something, like it's something that comes over you when you are standing face up, like standing up for yourself. I've never had such movement in my heart, like you said, the sign of something happening to you, that it's like I stand up and my voice shakes and I still have to say what it is I have to say because I showed up to say so. And that it's empowering.
Yes, absolutely. Sarah, thank you so much for sharing that. I love it. The last thing, there's more in this chapter, but honestly, I think we really did get a really good handle on the most important elements to starting this book, is those 4 questions. I want you to marinate on those questions, because ultimately this is about what you choose. We're going to do book club. We're going to be here every single week. We're going to present you with awesome ideas, and you get to that opportunity to read. But when you decide what you decide from those 4 questions is when you're going to start to create that breakthrough. And I can't wait to hear your breakthroughs. The last thing that I want to just leave is the power of visualization. On page 27, he talks about Bonnie Raitt, I think. Anyway, she had this huge shift, but it all came down to this one moment during one of her meditations when she was visualizing herself as the exceptional version of herself, living in her greatest capacity and beyond her upper limit. She recognized that exceptional version of herself, and she saw the dress she was wearing when she won the award. She saw the people. She saw how her hair was done. She visualized with clarity what that looked like, and then she was able to step into that. So every time that upper limit came up, she was able to go, I can't unsee what I've seen, that vision of myself. I know that's who I'm divinely created to be. So I want to just ask you to spend some time marinating on those questions. Do a little bit of shine a flashlight of awareness on what's going on in your heart about this. Give yourself compassion to feel it. You might have some strong emotions come up. Feel them. Don't resist it. If you feel strong emotions, the quickest way is through it. Feel it. And then do some guided meditation. Have some quiet time. Put some beautiful music in your ears. Close your eyes. Take some deep breaths and just visualize, what would the version of me that had already achieved whatever it is I want to achieve, what would that version, that exceptional version of me, what would she look like? What would she think about? What would she talk about? How would she spend her time? How wouldn't she spend her time? Visualize that with clarity. Get specific. And once you really get that in your heart and your mind, it's burned. You can't unsee it. And it will be an anchor that kind of drops you in this exceptional version of yourself as you work on busting through that upper limit and taking your big leap. Okay, you are amazing. Thank you for spending time with me today. Thank you for showing up for yourselves. I want you to acknowledge yourself because you are investing in a growth plan for you. And that is one of the biggest keys to success. So thanks for joining us. Let's create a beautiful week, you guys. Love you so much. Mwah. You're so welcome. Create a beautiful day. Bye.